What is going on, everyone? Guess what? I'm back, and it's time for a full and fun, epic week of streams here on DSPGaming. 6 straight days starting right now, and boy, do we have a lot in store. Continuing playthroughs, brand new games, and that's right, it is a lock confirmed for tomorrow, an epic appearance on this very show by a very special guest by the name of... I'm not going to tell you. I already told you on social media. It's Wings of Redemption. All right. And in addition to all of that, at the end of this week, we've got the Halloween Marathon. So this is an epic week. I cannot wait. And I can't wait to get it all started. Sit back and relax. We're going to talk about all of the fun festivities coming up on today's week beginning episode of the Level 1 Podcast. Alrighty, everybody. Good morning and welcome to the show. I'm DSP. This is the Level 1 Podcast for Sunday, the 26th of October, 2025. We're back. After a couple days away, that's right. I had 2 days off this last few days here, and I've returned with news. Oh, yes. Everyone out there right now, contact the heralds, grab the trumpets of alarm, light the tower torches so that everyone along the land will know. Tomorrow will be an epic day as long as Wing shows up here on the Level 1 Podcast, because we will have a first guest on this show since March. It should be exciting, interesting. Who knows? I don't know how it's going to go. To be frank, I don't think either of us knows how it's going to go. I think we're both kind of interested to see what will go down on tomorrow's show. We'll talk all about this in a moment. But at the same time, this week is already epic. We are continuing great playthroughs like Silk Song, Tormented Souls 2, excuse me, Pokemon, which has been ultimate chill fun, and Ninja Gaiden 4, plus some American Truck Sim chill. And of course, at the very end of this week, it is the Halloween Marathon event, where I'll be dressed up in costume. I'll be drinking. I'll be eating. I'll be merry. I said that the wrong way. You're supposed to say eat, drink, and be merry. We'll be playing a variety of horror-themed video games, which all of you nominated. And I'm excited because it's a good variety this year. Actually a significant, interesting variety of stuff that I think is going to work out really well. And it's going to be a great event. So that's on Friday, the actual, Halloween all day long. And I certainly hope that you guys are going to join me for that. But it's just a great week in general. The fall has 100% arrived. It is raining and cool outside. It is only 72 degrees in my office. It is beautiful streaming weather. That's why I'm so excited for the festivities that are about to arrive. So we're going to talk about all of this, all right? We are. How is everyone today? I know you guys have been away for a couple of days. Hopefully you're safe. Hopefully you had a good time. Maybe you decided to get caught up on all of my content. Maybe not. But whatever you did, I hope that you had a good one. All right, I'm back. And I am rejuvenated. I am ready to go. Who do we got here today? We got Dvaklin. We've got Chris. We got your local SpongeBob fanboy. That's an interesting name. Original Grant Game Dude. Frosted Shard. We got Buckwell. I can never read this name for some reason because it's red. It's hard to read. Hell Yeah Real. Anti-Consumer Practices, Hyperloop, RGB Kings. A buffed John Stamos has arrived today. That's interesting. Very epic man. I'm sorry is here. Who else? Amber Lynn Horntons. Horntons. That's a throwback. Horntons. D-Man, how are you? Lord J, how are you? I hope you're all doing well. Really, I mean that because I'm excited for a fun and positive week here on the channel. I know that you guys are always up for whatever, comes our way, but this week is going to be a special one. It's not just normal stuff. We got some epic, cool, neat stuff planned. Although, admittedly, this is going to change the schedule around a little bit. Um, we already shuffled the schedule around once because of what happened with Tormented Souls 2 on Friday. We'll talk about that actually because that's important that you guys know what's going on with that game and playthrough. But also now, with tomorrow, it's also going to be a schedule changing deal. So, talk about all of this. I'm actually very curious to talk about tomorrow and what you guys think about this whole situation. Okay? But first, before we get to that, let's talk about my days off. Because you guys always ask me, well, Phil, what were you up to? How were your days away? And I always say, but none of your business. Wow, how dare you ask me such an intrusive question? It's completely disrespectful. I have the right to privacy. And if I feel like sharing with you some information about my days off, I will. You shouldn't be asking me. Well, today, I'll just offer some information up, okay? I did a lot, actually. My wife and I had a day out, and like I said, it was full, 100% crazy fall weather, pouring rain all day long, cool winds. But listen, we would much rather have pouring rain and cool winds than insane summer heat. Seriously, we just like it better. So we went out. We did a lot actually. We did some shopping for around the house. We definitely restocked everything. We went to Costco and had a huge run there, restocking on so many things that we had been out of. Preparing essentially for the entire upcoming like holiday season to make sure that the house has everything that we need and we're not going to have to run out to buy stuff last minute during the holiday season because you know how busy it gets once you hit that November, December time here in the United States. All the stores are always packed, lines out the door. So trying to avoid that. Had some good food while we were out. Although admittedly, it's kind of sad. Recently in my area, a ton of places that we used to like to go to have closed down. So first off, I think I'd mentioned this already. There was a restaurant called Claim Jumper. And this restaurant looked like a log cabin and it had a lot of American comfort foods, steak, stuff like that. Went there a million times, loved it. Of course, they've changed over the years. They used to be a place that did like a 3-course meal. Then they went down to like nothing, just normal entrees. They went out of business. And that sucks because that's a staple that we used to like. Then we find out one of the few places that we like to go to around here for pizza has also gone out of business. It's called The Rock Wood Fired Pizza, and I've actually ordered it and had it on stream for DSP Tries It and for like Feasting with the King. They went out of business. There's only one location left in our entire state. There used to be like 4 or 5. All of them closed overnight. Just decided to close. Not profitable enough. So that's gone. So it's like slim pickings now. When we're out, we're like, what are we going to get? We got to look and see what's available in the areas that we're at. We ended up getting Caribbean food again. We had gotten this like a month ago, but it was so good last time we got it again. But anyway, basically we had one really, really long day out where we had left like probably right before noon. We didn't get home till like almost 8 p.m. just doing so many different things while we were out. Which was nice. It's nice to be out and spend time with my wife, not cooped up in the house. The next day, I spent up the entire day cooped up in the house, but it was a fine day to do that because we had already spent the whole first day together. I did some errands and stuff like standard grocery shopping, but for the most part, it was us hanging out. My wife's playing Power Wash Simulator 2. She just started, and it was fun to see her play a few of those stages and hang out with her when she did that. We watched a few, videos and things together, relaxed, listened to some music and stuff, had some wine. It was nice. It was a nice day. One of the things that I did, I went to the liquor store. As I told you, I was going to look for, basically, I was going to look for a way to get some themed liquor for the Halloween marathon. they didn't really have much. The only thing that I could see that was like Halloween themed was like a beer or like a alcoholic cider. That's not too exciting for a marathon. For a marathon, usually what I like to do is when we hit a milestone of support, I take a shot. They didn't have like any liquor that seemed to be like Halloween theme. However, they did have one liquor that's brand new. I've never tried this before. It said new product, like now available. A blackberry Jack Daniel's whiskey. Could it be good? I've had a few flavored Jack Daniels before. I thought they were decent. This is brand new. Apparently, they just released it. So I grabbed a bottle of that, and I actually got a themed tequila that is Day of the Dead tequila. Yes, I did get that. So we'll have a couple things to sip on over the course of Friday's marathon. Didn't find too much crazy stuff. In addition, I told you guys that I wanted to find some odds and ends for my Halloween costume, that I was looking to basically get like the finishing touches. But sadly, it just didn't work out. We didn't get to the store. So basically, over the course of the days off, I went online and I found a couple things that I thought would actually add to the costume, and I ordered them. And they're supposed to come soon. Like, actually, I think one of them was coming today. I think something might be coming tomorrow. I hope it's good. It is what it is. Honestly, I was shocked this year. There's not as much Halloween offering in my area as there usually is. Like, usually there's like 1 to 2 pop-up Halloween stores. And then usually stores around here have big, big Halloween-themed departments. We went to Target. They did have Halloween stuff, but nothing good for costumes at all. Party City went out of business. So that's when we used to go to. That was completely out. There was one pop-up Halloween store that we went to. That was the one that we went to like a few weeks ago. And that was it. Like, that's literally it. And I was like, wow, I wonder, what happened this year? Because usually there's a lot of Halloween stuff going on. But I don't know. Could it be inflation? It's weird because everyone says that Halloween is the second most profitable holiday in the United States, that everyone goes out and spends for it. But I didn't really feel the vibe this year. Like, some stores had Halloween, but I'll tell you, stores already had Christmas 2 weeks ago. Seriously. Like stores were jam-packed with Christmas trees, decorations, food, like at the beginning of October. So it almost feels like Halloween is now starting to get jumped over for Christmas. And the moment that Halloween is over, all you're going to see and hear everywhere is Christmas music, Christmas-themed sales. Everything's Christmas. So, yeah, one thing that occurred to me as I was basically doing these finishing touches for Halloween, I realized we got to figure out what we want to do at the end of November for my marathon. As you guys might or might not remember, I always do a marathon on Black Friday, which is the day after American Thanksgiving. And we've done various different things over the years. We've had actual like Black Ops Friday, where I just played Call of Duty Black Ops all day that day. We've done Adpocalypse events where I watched advertisements of yesteryear and reacted to them, and we just kind of chilled all day. We've done various variety of stuff. I actually don't know what I want to do this year. I'm just not sure. And we really have to start thinking about this and planning it out, because I want people to get excited, obviously. See, the Christmas event is a staple. We always, right around Christmas Eve-ish, we do a marathon where I dress up in holiday attire, all these ugly sweaters, and we have Christmas-themed stuff going on. We do games, all kinds of fun stuff. Halloween, I always dress up for Halloween. We do horror games, but it's always different for that whole Black Friday thing. So I'm curious what you guys think. Maybe this week we should start planning it so that we can have an idea by the end of the week, so that once Halloween's done, we know, hey, here's the next thing we're working towards, right? Wonder if you guys have any ideas. Some people have thrown ideas out recently. Like, for example, some people have said, what about like a retro gaming marathon, where you play a bunch of retro games from back in the day in, a marathon setting? It's cool, but like, what would it be? Would it be Super Mario? Would it be, I don't know, Ninja Gaiden? Castlevania we already played just a few years ago. But I wonder, like, what would you guys want? Or a variety. I play a Mario game, then I play original Zelda, then I do something. I don't know. I mean, I'm open to many different, ideas, and then we can weigh and balance them maybe and try to figure them out and go from there. So, sorry, someone is asking me to ban someone, so I'll take care of it. There we go. Okay. Oh, I see someone noticed. Actually, wow, it took longer than I expected. 15 minutes. The show has been live for 15 minutes. It took 15 minutes for someone to mention this silly stuff. My wife saw this at a store. She was like, "Come over here." I was like, "What?" And she goes, "Are you hungry?" I said, "What do you mean?" "No, well, I'm not hungry yet. We didn't eat too long ago." And she said, "Oh, that's too bad because here, it's actually not bad. It's a wrist rest. It's actually decent quality. So I got a nice big baguette and I got a little croissant, wrist rests. So if they bother you guys visually, I can move them over there and I can move the cloud wrist rest back because all I did is I moved the cloud wrist rest from there to over there because I have two setups here. But I thought they looked pretty cool. So, yeah, they look pretty fun, the prints anyway. So let's see if you guys like them or not. I'm not, like I said, it's not a big deal. I thought it was a funny little thing. And it was nice to spend a day with my wife out like that and just, grab some odds and ends here or there, a couple ideas. We got a bottle of wine. Like I said, we had some wine together. So we grabbed a bottle of wine. We were at the liquor store that we could drink together. It's like, it's nice to spend that time with her. I wish I could do it more often. As you know, in the last year, I've been able to do it from time to time, thanks to you guys. It really is because of you, because you guys have supported us so much here on the streams with so much, hitting so many goals so often that I've now been able to take a lot more time away. Usually at least once a month, I get that extra day to spend with her, sometimes twice, depending. A lot of the times it really depends on scheduling. Like, I would absolutely love to do it all the time, but I really can't. It depends on, hey, when can we actually uh schedule an appointment or whatever. Sometimes we can't do it on a weekend. And that way, because it's a weekday, that's when I have to have the extra day, stuff like that. But it's been great. This year has been a much better year than previous years where it's always stressful and everything. It's been a much better time. And I appreciate all you guys supporting my content so much. You're amazing. So speaking of which, next week, I'm just going to take the whole week off. I'm just kidding. No, we got a 6-day week. And then after that, probably another 6-day week. We'll see. But good stuff. The thing is, I am so busy right now, right? I am so busy with everything we're doing. We're juggling a tremendous amount of new releases, and there's more right on the horizon. It basically means I can't really take on any more real new games. As you know, here's what we're doing right now. And by the way, I'm going to do shout outs in a moment. I think I got my first contribution of the day. So thank you guys. If you contribute, I will give you a shout out in just a sec. Thanks for the early support. Right now, here's what we're doing. Hollow Knight Silksong Act 3. We're almost done with the game. For one to understand, we are in the finale. We're just doing the last odds and ends, meaning the side quests, the final optional boss fights, the final items that I kind of missed along the way. And then we're going to do the final major 3 areas, and then it's the finale. So probably a few more streams, we're finally done with Silksong. But man, what a playthrough. 50 plus parts. We're talking 60 hours more. It's such an epic game. I never expected it to be this long. I never expected you guys to get so engaged and supportive for this game. And I'm so happy you did because I love it. I can't wait to see it through to the end and see all the content of the game. So that's amazing. We've got Ninja Gaiden 4, which is turning out to be pretty good. At first, it looked a little rough around the edges when I started, but now that I'm into the swing of things, I've learned the combat system. I'm kicking major ass. I'm doing well in the game. It's pretty awesome. I can't wait for more. I'm having a good time with that. Then we've got Pokemon Legends ZA, which shockingly is working very well as a playthrough in a stream. I thought that maybe this would be the one that wouldn't work so well because a lot of critics are panning the game and saying it sucks and people online are crapping on it. But man, I like it. It's chill fun. It allows us to interact and hang out while we're catching Pokemon and doing things. And it just seems to be a really great chill stream that fits the schedule because a lot of the other games I'm playing are so action-packed and stressful. That one is perfect to offset those other games, right? And now we have Tormented Souls 2. Okay, let's talk. This is important. Before we get to the whole tomorrow, because I want to talk a big chunk of the show about tomorrow. Tormented Souls 2, we started on Friday. Okay, for those who don't know, Tormented Souls was a game from, like 4 or 5 years ago? And it was a game that's designed by a small studio. It's not a ginormous big budget game or anything like that. It's meant to be an homage to classic survival horror. Fixed camera angles, limited ammo and inventory space, enemies that are kind of cheesy, but they jump out at you at weird angles and it's hard to avoid. No real active way to dodge enemies. Instead, it's a little cumbersome. It's meant to be that way. Also, puzzles that are incredibly reminiscent of back in the day when you played classic survival horror. So I didn't play it as a new release. I played it a little bit after the fact. I liked it a lot. I really did. I loved it. I was like, man, I like classic survival horror, and this game has some modernizations. It doesn't have the classic tank controls. Instead, it does fully move at your thumbstick or whatever. And I liked that about it. But, there's some difficult parts. There were some very challenging puzzles, hell of a lot of backtracking like those games tend to have. But in general, I liked it a lot. Like, man, I can't, really cool. I wish that there were more games like that. Now, recently there have been. Like last year, there was Crow Country. And that game also played like classic survival horror in a lot of ways, although that one had way retro graphics as well. Had a great time with it. So now the sequel has come out, Tormented Souls 2, on Friday, okay? If you were to ask me, Bill, out of all the games coming out in October, what's the one that you think is going to resonate the most with your audience during that month? I'm going to be honest with you. The answer I would have given you would have been Tormented Souls 2. Because I figure it's classic survival horror during a month that's horror themed because of Halloween. And we played Chronos the New Dawn and Silent Hill F, but that was almost a month ago. Now we kind of have this gap, right? And I think people are wanting some horror. Makes sense, right? This is a perfect time. It fits in. So, cool. And by the way, for the record, people tend to really like my survival horror playthroughs, even when it's a game that I'm not really liking. Like, for example, Silent Hill F. To be honest with you guys, it was pretty disappointing for me. I was expecting way more, right? Compare that with Chronos the New Dawn, a game that I wasn't expecting anything from, and it ended up being superior. It's like superb game. So, Tormented Souls 2 came out on Friday, and I'm thinking, man, this thing probably will do pretty good. No. No, not at all. So, attendance, kind of average, not great, not horrible. Engagement, people started engaged for the first hour, and then I immediately started to see a shift. People started to say, man, this game is boring. Man, this game doesn't have enough going on. There's not enough enemies. He's reading too much. And I'm thinking in my head, it's classic survival horror. Did you ever see someone play Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, Silent Hill 1, 2, 3? That's what they're going for with this game. That's the whole idea, is that they want it to feel like an homage to the classics, but it's a new game, so it's like you're playing a new version of the old classics. I think so far, around 3 hours into the game, it has absolutely succeeded at that. It's nailing it. It's giving you that experience. For some reason, it doesn't seem to be resonating with the audience. People were kind of complaining it wasn't that good. And to be honest with you, if it weren't for a person showing up last minute on the stream and doing a very generous tip, we wouldn't have hit the support goal. We would have been not even at $100 yet. Okay? Now, interestingly enough, this person that showed up and dropped this giant tip at the end of that stream said something interesting in their tip message. They said, Bill, I think that personally, you should stream Tormented Souls 2 as a late night stream. The reason being, number one, it's horror themed, and horror themed games are going to do better on the late streams. And I started thinking in my head, they have a point. When I was playing Chronos the New Dawn as a day stream, it didn't always do well, but when I moved it to night streams, it started doing well. Silent Hill F, same thing. At first it was okay, but then I moved it to night streams and it seemed to do better. So maybe they got a point. And then they also made a point. They said, I like the game. I want to support it, but I can only attend your night streams. So if you move it to nights, I can help you out. And I was like, oh, well, then I guess it kind of is a no-brainer that we move Tormented Souls 2 to night streams. Now, listen, if I had played it as the day stream on Friday and people were loving it and were so engaged and the attendance was great and the support was forthcoming, I would have been like, fine, let's just keep it as a day stream. But honestly, I think maybe we should try it as a night stream. And so that's why I shifted the schedule around. Originally today was going to be Tormented Souls 2 on the daytime stream, but I don't think that's going to work. So that's why we're shifting it around, okay? So we're going to give it a go tonight as the late stream and see how it does, okay? I'm curious, how will Tormented Souls 2 do on a late stream? If it does well tonight, great. I guess we'll find out. I'm also, excuse me, I'm also going to have to shift the schedule around because of tomorrow, all right? Because tomorrow, we're going to have a guest on this show for the first time since March. And man, let me tell you, I haven't actually set up a stream to have a guest since April. So it's been 6 months. So I'm thinking in my head, oh crap, how do I do that? That's right. I got to put on a virtual camera in OBS, and that's going to go into Discord so that they can see me. And then I have to do a Discord capture window, and I have to unmute this particular audio here so that you guys can hear them talk. It's all this complicated setup to do. I haven't done it in 6 months, but I think it's worth it because, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow on the show, I'm going to have a very special guest, the likes of which you have asked for many, many, many years. Oh, did you want to know who it is? It's Wings of Redemption. Yeah. Jordy Jordan himself will be on the show tomorrow. At least he says he is. And listen, I know that a lot of people have said to me he's going to flake. I'm serious. I'm not even kidding. People have personally written to me and contacted me and said, are you aware that Wings is just going to flake on you? And I'm like, normally maybe I would believe you because he has flaked on me before. There's been times when we've talked about doing stuff or he said he's interested in doing stuff, and then he would ghost me. And it upset me. Admittedly, it did. But this time around, he's been talking back and forth with me for about a week. And I've got him added to Discord and everything. So in that regard, we're ready to go there. We've locked it in. So here's how it's going to go tomorrow. So everybody knows. Okay. We are going to go live at the usual time. The stream will go live around, say, 11:15 a.m. And then I'll jump on the stream around 11:30 a.m. And we will do like a half an hour of build-up. Half an hour, we'll just hang out and we'll talk. We'll see what you guys think about what's about to happen, get you all hyped and excited. However, just like with the other guests that I have had on the show, okay, we are going to give Wings my undivided attention. All right? I'm not going to be reading chat. There's not going to be any pop-up messages. There's not going to be any leaderboard. I'm going to remove these elements from the stream during the time that he is here. Now, I don't know how long he's going to stay. He said he's going to arrive around noonish Pacific time. Okay, so perfect, because that's about, when we're in full swing in the podcast. Like it's about right now. It's about right now will be the time that he arrives on the show after we do the build-up. And basically, once he's here, it's just going to be him and me, and that's it. Hanging out. All right? It's just going to be us. Now, maybe this will be a short conversation that's only 30 minutes, and we don't have a lot to talk about, and it goes by, and we're like, it's kind of boring. All right, let him go, and then that's that. Maybe it'll turn into a big conversation about a million different topics. Who knows? And in a lot of ways, I think that we have a lot of similarities, or at least we've been through similar situations where we can talk about that and share opinions and thoughts about stuff that's happened. At the same time, I think we're very different people, like really different people, like completely different people. I don't think that you could think that we're kind of polar opposites in a lot of ways. Our philosophies on kind of content we make and the way that we behave and all kinds of stuff, right? So maybe we're going to have some harsh criticisms for each other. I don't know. I mean, for me, here's the thing. I could sit here and I could plan out this whole thing, but isn't that boring? Like, there's a few things, obviously, I have in mind that I like to say to him and ask him, okay? But particularly, I think I'd rather let it, go with the flow and see where it goes rather than coming in with a giant laundry list of things. So here's the 47 questions I was told to ask you by people who don't like you, Wings. Here's your interrogation. Here we go. I don't think I want to do that. I think I'd much rather just have a conversation with him, see where it leads. If we get to some interesting questions, great. And if we don't, I don't really care. It's so weird because every time that someone has me on a show, it seems like priority one is, we got to cause as much drama as possible by asking Phil every ridiculous question just to piss him off, right? I have no desire to do that with Jordy tomorrow. You know what it is? Like, maybe I've just been through it so many times and it's just so stupid. It never goes anywhere. It's just the same beat the dead horse shit anyway. Like, don't you want to do new content? Like, this is the first time I'm ever actually going to have a conversation with this man. Why should we talk about the topics that everyone's already beaten to death, right? Maybe we could find some new ground and stuff to cover that no one's ever heard people talk about before, right? Or maybe I'm going to call him out for some of the horrible things that he said about me. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see, right? We'll have to see how it goes tomorrow. We'll see how I feel too. What kind of a mood am I in? Maybe I'll be in a real pissy mood. I don't know. We'll see what happens, right? So, that's what it's all about. So tomorrow he'll join around noon and we're going to hang out. I would say the longest we'll go is 2 hours. Like the absolute longest we'll go is a couple of hours. I don't think after like an hour and a half, it doesn't even matter who your guest is. I feel like you're already going too long. You know what I'm saying? So even if we had hot topics, I feel like 2 hours is enough. And because here's what I like to do. As you know, when I do a show like this, after the guest leaves, then I enable pop-ups, I enable the leaderboard, I start looking at contributions that have come in during that event, and then we go fully interactive. So what I will do is for the second half of the stream, I will do a decompression session where we just hang out and chill, and we talk about what just went down. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What were the hot topics? What were the things that you felt you learned something about or you found entertaining? What was boring? Did you like it? Would you like to see more like that? Do you have recommendations for improvement? How it could have gone better? Do you think it went did it not go well? What do you think? Right? So I think that'll be great. And it's going to be something special, something different. Break up all the gaming that I've been doing nonstop for a very long time. Give us some variety. I think it's a great opportunity. I really do. Now, some people have already said, well, why do you think Wings is doing it now out of nowhere? He said so on his own streams, but to reiterate, if you don't know, basically Wings has left Lal Kao Lai willingly. It wasn't like he was thrown off this time or he was fired. He just doesn't want to work there anymore. All right. He's trying to get himself back on his own feet. He's trying to get momentum back for his channel. Well, it's not working. This month, he was really hoping that Battlefield was going to like take off for him, and he played a living crap out of it. And it just didn't work for his audience. They just didn't like it that much. So he knows that he has to wait at least 2 to 3 weeks here until Call of Duty Black Ops 7 comes out. And he knows that that's probably going to be great content for him and his channel. He wants something to do kind of in the middle to kind of break that up and maybe get a little bit of attention. And that's perfectly fine, in my opinion. I think that's perfectly good intentions. If this conversation ends up being entertaining and fun for either of our audiences, it's a win-win, right? I think so. It'll get people talking about him. It'll get people maybe excited to check out his content again. Maybe, maybe not. The way I see it, all right, because people are saying, well, why do you want to do it? Why not? Number one, this is someone who people have wanted me to talk to for many years. I've reacted to multiple documentaries about the guy. I've been watching some of the content that he's been putting out and his detractors have been putting out about him recently. So I'm kind of in the know about the topics about the guy. And, like I said, I actually legit feel like we have been through some similar things together that maybe we could actually share opinions on how we handled them. Could we have done it better? I think one of the interesting topics to talk about is that we both started off as on-demand video creators on YouTube, okay? We didn't stream. We just sat down and we played the games and we made videos about them, whether it was like strategic videos he made about Call of Duty, showing how to play at a high level. Me, I just did Let's Plays and game reviews. And over the years, we both had to completely change our strategies for content creation due to factors such as falling ad revenue, the changing of the climate of content creation online, the level of trolling that we received, etc. Right? So that's just right there. That's a fascinating topic, I feel, to talk about that, how that changed and how we had to adapt on the fly and try to become different, but still succeed. But that's just one example. All right. There's many things I think that we could talk about. So it should be interesting, I think, tomorrow. I'm curious how this is going to go. I really am. And if it ends up being a big nothing burger of a dud, then it's no big deal. It's one day. It's one stream, actually. It's not even one day. It's one stream. And then we're just back to business as usual, right? Or perhaps it goes so well that we will start a business empire together of collaborative content that will branch out and become our own network. And we'll have thousands of people involved. We'll employ hundreds of people all around the globe. And We'll be filthy rich from now on. What do you think? Even I couldn't say that with a straight face. Let's see what happens tomorrow. All right. So that, again, to reiterate, how's it going to go? Normal podcast start time, little half an hour build up. Around noon, I get set up. I invite him on the show, and we have a conversation, and we see how it goes. If it goes well, great. If not, meh, no big deal. Hey, not a big deal. You know, it's not the end of the world. No one has to cry about it. No one has to complain. Oh my God, I can't believe it went so poorly. It's one stream. Big deal, right? And let's just go from there. And, and this is something that, again, I wanted to do for a while. He's someone who I've been wanted to talk to and or just have a conversation with, hang out with for a while. And for whatever reason, it never happened. A lot of the times I feel like I don't know, like he says that it's because of mental issues and like depression and stuff. And listen, if that is the truth, I understand it. And if that's the fact, like maybe that's something we should talk about, is that I've been there. I've done that. I know all about how for no reason there have been opportunities that I've had that I squandered and or I ruined. There's friendships that I purposefully ended for no reason because I was depressed. And that's what you do when you're depressed. You just self-destruct constantly over and over and over. And it becomes an endless cycle to a point. And it sucks, especially when you don't know why you're doing it. Just because you feel miserable about some bullshit that happened or whatever, and you just can't shake it. So next thing you do is you ruin everything else around you. Maybe that is what happened. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll talk about it. So I think tomorrow's going to be cool. And hey, the good news is also it's one stream. It's not like it's going to completely interject and ruin the rest of the content for the season. Ahem. Unlike some other people who said that I had to completely change everything I was doing in order to be a part of their content, and that I had to completely change my philosophy of content creation. I couldn't enjoy gaming anymore because it would never be profitable. Wait, what am I talking about? I got a little distracted. I'm sorry. We could just do the one show, and then we could get back to business and then see what happens. Okay? All right, so people are starting to give opinions now, which is what I wanted. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to shout out a couple contributions, and then I'd like to get everyone's opinion right now. This is the opportunity. If you want to talk about this topic, now is the time to do it. Because like I said, tomorrow, once he's on the show, I'm turning everything off. And then we can talk about it after the fact, but I'm curious what everyone's thoughts are up front. Okay? Let me do some quick shout-outs first, and then we'll see what your opinions are. Okay? Someone tipped $1.11 says, not sure if you saw Tekken 3 has launched in the PlayStation 5 store as a classics with full crisp HD graphics, rewinding and saving. You never played the fighting game classic ever on stream in your extensive fighting game background. You reckon you'll ever check it out? Probably not. Who would want to see me play Tekken 3? It's pretty old. It's from the 90s. I played it in arcades. That was the one that I played in tournaments. I actually won a tournament in that back in the day, which is pretty funny because I wasn't really a 3D player, but I did learn Tekken 3 and got really good at it. I learned all King's throw links and everything. There's no online play. It's playing the game single player offline. Why would you want to see me just beat up the CPU? I don't think there's anything there. If you think that there's something there, you let me know, but I don't think there's anything there that you guys would be interested in. An anonymous tipper. I thought these tips were going to be about tomorrow's show. An anonymous tipper tipped me $1.02, and listen to what he says. It would be awesome, creative, and impressive if you make themed art pieces to display behind you. I think you're wrong when you say that your background isn't on screen long enough to be worth it. I see the background 30 or 40% of the time. Themed art pieces. You mean like the ghost, the electric lamp that reminds me of Dr. Frankenstein's laboratory, the digital frame that has completely themed animations, the throwback horror mask to Deathface from my past, the Edgar Allan Poe, the black Halloween, the themed stuff behind me. What's he talking about? He's acting like my background is empty or something. I'm actually confused at like what they're trying to get at, this person. Maybe they're referencing something from like that we talked about in the past, but I don't remember. You'd have to elaborate on that more because I actually don't understand what you're trying to get at. The point has eluded me. Okay. But thanks for $1. Prince, what the hell? Habibian tipped did a $5 super chat and says, I'm super excited for tomorrow's stream with Wings. He's I can't wait for more contact with someone who insulted you and your wife. Well, there you go. So should I call him out on that particularly? Here's again, let's chill right now. Let's talk a bit. What do you guys what do you think is gonna happen? All right. It's Habibian. What a name, Habibian, whatever that means. Um, are there things you guys want me to call him out for that I don't know about? You have to understand, I don't watch Wings of Redemption's content until recently. I started tuning in to kind of get in the know about what this guy's been up to. So I'm kind of in the know now about what he's been doing, but I don't know about anything. All this stuff is all internet lolcow lore shit that I don't know about. Is there some infamous thing that he said that insulted me and my wife and stuff? I don't know. I don't. Here we go. Wings eats fast food all the time, and you do fast food reviews, perhaps a collab. There you go. Paul Malfer saying the age of consent should be 13. Don't you think that's been kind of done to death? Like, don't you think that's really boring? I do. I really do. I think that, like, so many people have brought that up with him that what's the point? I think that's boring as shit. Am I going to be okay if he calls me out for comments I left on videos? He could read every single comment I've ever left on a video word for word. I don't care. Don't you think? Think of it this way. Don't you think that if I thought there was a problem with something that I said in a comment, I wouldn't have left it publicly? With accounts that, are mine, that it's me saying it? I swear people, they go so crazy to, make conspiracy. Oh my God, Wings might actually, reference a comment Phil left on a video. Do you think I thought it was invisible when I left it? You don't leave comments on videos that you don't want people to read. Get it? Do you understand that's the point of a public comment system? That the public can see your comment? Holy moly. I'm hosting an interview but don't have a plan for a conversation? No, here's the deal. I have many things I could talk to him about. Surely. The thing is, I'm not going in with an agenda. There's a difference between going into a conversation with some ideas for interesting topics and things that would be entertaining for us to talk about, but also for an audience to hear us talk about. But also, there's a difference between that and going in with an agenda. I'm not going in with the intention to destroy a man and be negative to him and, try to publicly embarrass him and do horrible things and say horrible things. I think he's kind of, like me, he's been through the ringer and had that happen to him many times. He has enough full-time trolls. I don't think that he needs another, you know? Maybe a part-time troll, but maybe not a full-time troll. I don't know. There you go. So here we go. The problems people have with Wings aren't things you can just get into without doing research. His lolcow gene isn't really lying. It's saying stuff and pretending it didn't happen. Well, there you go. Oh, I know that. SFL says he's been telling people for months that your wife left you. All right, see, I know the whole situation there. Okay, this is something I would like to bring up with him because I feel pretty bad about it. He 1,000,000% is trolled by his mods. His moderators purposefully feed him misinformation and lolcow drama shit, and he just believes them. I think he trusts them, so he believes them, and then he repeats it as fact with absolutely no premise to do so. Like, he has no information to prove anything he's saying, but then he repeats it, and then it gets reported that Wings said this. It's like, well, no, what Wings did is he listened to his moderators who fed him this awful misinformation because they troll his ass, and he's gullible and he believes it. So then he repeats it, and then he becomes the authority figure saying it, and that's how it gets reported. Like, he's never seen a single piece of evidence of anything saying that, oh, my wife left me. His mods told him that she did. It was like, oh, that's sad. And then he'll say a million times and stuff. It's not true. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just because he's gullible. And he believes and trusts the wrong people. That's the truth. He believes and he trusts the absolute wrong people. And they have led him astray time and time again in his life, I feel. Maybe you could disagree. But that's the problem, is it's tough to say, but, like, if people seem to act nice to him, he'll just believes it, maybe because he just really is desperate for people to be nice to him. And the next thing you know, they're completely using him and he has no clue. He just, or maybe it's willing ignorance. Like he knows it, but he doesn't care because at least someone's being nice to him. So he doesn't care that they're using him. I don't know. Maybe he won't even realize it. If I bring this up with him, maybe he'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about. But it's blatantly true. All you got to do is watch a few highlight clips. His mods will say something to him that's completely false. And he'll be like, oh, really? That's true? And then he'll just keep talking about it and act, oh, wow. It's pretty bad, you know? For me, like, people will come in here and say stuff to me, and I'm like, well, if it's true or whatever, but I don't just believe everything I'm told because I know that everyone likes to fuck with people on the internet, and they're going to say dumb shit, right? Like, right now, some of the stuff that you guys say about Wings, I know that it's not completely true. It's kind of half-truths or, like, spun a certain way to be toxic, even though it's not really what happened, you know? Oh, I'm going to say this right now, all right? I'll say it up front. When we started talking this week about him coming on the show, 100% I made the offer. I said, dude, if you want, I understand that, right now you're trying to make a living. You're trying to make your channel work again, as your full-time income. 1,000,000% for your time, I'm willing to pay you. What we could do is we can split the profits of the show. Whatever the show makes, I will split it down the middle with you. It's all good. And you know what he said? I swear to God, he said, no, I don't want any money. He said, it's all good. He turned it down. So, hey, I don't know why, but he turned it down. He said, no, he doesn't want any money from the show. So that's on him. That was his choice. And he outright said, no, I don't want it. So I can't make him take money, but he said no. So there you go. I look badass with this shirt. I don't know about that. Why would this shirt make me look badass? It's just an Izod button down. Anyway, okay, well, some more shout outs here. Gee, thanks everyone sending me single dollars. I really appreciate the single dollars. Let's see. You got to challenge him to a Pokemon battle Ash Ketchum style. It's a proven way to make best friends. Just watch the anime. Jokes aside, I usually think he tends to be light on trolling you. He has given you a lot of credit over the years as well. It should be a good combo. I think it's going to go well. I think it's going to go well because we do have some history. We have a lot of things in common from shit that we've been through. Like I said, being creators at the same time, going from being on-demand video creators to having to be streamers. There's a lot to say there. Let's see here. Okay, another $1 tip. I meant homemade creative stuff that you make yourself, that you completely make yourself, like you paint a spooky scene or make a paper mache tree. Something that makes effort, creativity, and imagination. You want me to turn my background into arts and crafts show? I'm not in elementary school. I did that stuff when I was in elementary school. You have arts and crafts, or you do this. Like, dude, I'm 43 years old. I don't want to sit around making arts and crafts for the background. The record? All right, let me go on record. I don't want to make actual paintings. I don't want to make paper mache for my backgrounds. I actually think that stuff like this looks better than anything that I could come up with, maybe, Okay, thanks for the dollar. What is going on? Someone tipped $1 says Tekken 3 was revolutionary and a pioneer in what we know as fighting games today. The way you wrote it off like that, there was kind of insulting to fans. Tekken 3 is my favorite Tekken game of all time, and I was actually quite good at it. And I played the living crap out of it in arcades, but it's 2025. You can respect it, but, like, for example, if Super Turbo was just released on PlayStation with HD graphics and it was remade, but it was a single-player game only, I'd be like, why do you want me to play that? If this game, for example, if Tekken 3 came out right now and had online capability, lobbies, great net code, I'd be like, cool, let's go for it. Let's play it. I used to play the shit out of that game. I was actually good at it. My characters were Paul, King, Lei Wulong. Who's the other character? I used 4 characters. It might have been Nina. I'm trying to remember. I had 4 characters that I focused on when I played Tekken 3. and I got pretty darn good at it. Like, I was good at, even with King, like, faking people out and then going into the throw strings and things. Um, but why would you wanna see me just play against a computer? Like, fighting games are meant to be competitive. You can play them offline, and there is some traction you can have with that, but for the most part, fighting games are meant to be played against other people competitively. Why would you wanna see me play it offline? So, if you're taking it as an insult towards Tekken, you're barking up the wrong tree. I love Tekken, classic Tekken. I grew up playing, and I was actually good at it and liked it, but I just don't understand the appeal of what you're saying. You're acting like there'd be mass appeal to see me play Tekken 3 when it's an old game from the 1990s that you can't play online. Who would care? Okay? Wow, another dollar. Wow. Let's see here. You're gonna make this about yourself like always. Yes, that's what you do when you comment on things online. You add your own personal experiences and references to it. Therefore, you add something to the conversation. That's called being, informative, creative, interesting. You don't just objectively talk about something, you subjectively talk about it. That's the point. Or else, why would you ever want to hear a particular person weigh in on a topic? Correct. Okay, let's see what else they have to say. It's you always it's like you always do when you play games. Huh? Nah, let's not bother. I don't even know what the fuck this person's saying. Wasting our time. Thanks for the dollar. You can always tell the most intelligent comments come out with the dollar tips. Anyway, Prince Habibian again with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Habibian. He says, ask him how he thinks your fans feel after you claimed a high road by not doing drama and banned them for bringing up drama just to do drama. What drama? What are you talking about? What is there something in the air, the water today or something? Does anyone know what's going on? During my 2 days off, did a vacuum open up and suck everyone's brain cells out of their ears or something? Like, what are you talking about? Thanks for $5. Anyway, um, yikes. Anyway, so I would like input on this tomorrow. What's going to happen? What do you guys think? Are there things I should know? Are there things you want me to bring up? I'm not saying I'm going to bring them up, but I'd like to be informed if you guys have things to talk about or things to bring. You know what I'm saying? Um, I tried to do as much research as I could by watching his content and, to be honest, watching some detractor content because you get to both sides. You can see the raw stuff, but then you can also see their take on what he's saying, and they usually add background and context of stuff to try to figure out what exactly is going on, you know? And to be frank with everyone, all right, I've watched this stuff, and after watching it, I didn't run for the hills. I didn't say, oh, absolutely not. Like, there probably are some people that if I actually learned more about them, about what's going on with them and why people don't like them on the internet and shit, I'd probably be like, oh, God, I don't want to touch that with a 100-foot pole. But in this case, I honestly didn't see much at all besides things that people have been repeating for a zillion years and or stuff that I feel was blown way out of context, you know. But maybe that's stuff to talk about too. I don't know. Oh, here we go. So someone says, ask Wing for tips on which desk to get. I remember he paid someone $500 for a custom built desk. Let me guess. This is a joke where someone ripped them off or it's something that's going to piss him off, right? Of course. There you go. Okay, let's see here. Sarah, thanks for 7 months on Kick. It's not an official re-upping, so I can't add that to our leaderboard, but I appreciate you being a member for 7 months. Oh, no. Seriously? Someone just hit me $1, says PPP uses arts and crafts on his background and it looks awesome while yours looks low effort. You think that someone who had free time to do arts and crafts as an adult is a sign of skill and or intelligence. If you had told me PPP had kids and he worked with his kids and they worked together and as a family they did arts and crafts and he thought, oh, this would be a nice heartfelt thing to put into my background, then I'd be like, but you're like, no, he's an adult and he made arts and crafts he put into his background. Oh, I'm sorry. That's my honest initial reaction. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, man. Anyway, thanks for another $1. How will Wings benefit from this besides more trolls bothering him? Are you paying him? As I already said, I said up front to him, I offered him, to pay him. I said we could split whatever is made on that show. And he said no, he didn't want it. So that's him. I made the offer. I thought it would be fair. From what he said, all I can tell you is what he said publicly. He said publicly, that he is trying to get a boost for his channel. He wanted Battlefield to work. It hasn't. That Battlefield did not take off for him like he had hoped. So he's hoping that this will get more eyes on him and interest, in him. It might not. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. The way I see it, no harm, no foul. If it doesn't work, who cares? Big deal. It's one stream. It's not going to hurt anything. I think what it is once you get to a certain point, you're like, how could it possibly hurt anything? Right? Like, it can't, Someone did a $2 super chat talking about cry bullies. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Thanks for $2. I don't live online. I don't know what that term means. I don't care. Thanks for $2. Okay. People really have to start understanding something. I've tried to explain this recently. I don't think people get it. So I'm 43 years old. I grew up in the 80s and 90s. I grew with an offline existence. So I had friends, I had hobbies, physical, tangible things that I did. I always was playing outside with others, toys, sports. But also, I was also kind of a nerd at the time as well. I was into video games. I was into comic books, collectibles, that kind of stuff. It wasn't until the late 90s when I was already a teenager that the internet took off. And when the internet took off, that's when everyone started to live online. Now, I wasn't full-time back then because there was no way you could. There wasn't enough content. But what happened is over the last 20, 25 years, the world changed. Now, everything is immediately online, instant gratification, news, games, information, everything is online, right? There's entire culture based only online terminology, memes and shit, okay? But I don't live online. Do I have an online presence? Absolutely I do. I've been a YouTuber for 17 plus years. And before that, even I had an online presence in the Street Fighter community. So obviously I have a huge digital footprint when it comes to being online and all of that. But I have a separation of life between when I'm online and offline. When I'm right now online with all of you, right? This is my stream. This is my business. We hang out. We talk about games. We talk about all kinds of shit. That's my online presence. But the moment that this is off, it's not even in my mind. I'm spending time with my wife and my family, and I'm doing shit that's way more important over here that has nothing to do with what happens inside of this room. Okay? For you, probably just live online 24/7. Which is why when you do a $2 super chat and you ask me about, is it fair to call people or call you cry bully? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I don't care either. I don't care to learn this ridiculous nonsense that you're now pulling out of your ass, some new term that some idiot made up overnight. And now every fucking moron regurgitates it on the internet because it's a groupthink mentality. If we all say the same word and we kind of recognize the meaning behind it, the meme, oh, we're smart and we feel like we belong to something. You do. You belong to ridiculous online antisocial behavior. Your mind is cracked, okay? Like, I don't care what cry bully means. I'm sure it's insulting. I don't have time for you, all right? I have important things to talk about. Okay. Thank you to Baja Blasted, who has resubscribed to the channel. I appreciate that. Baja Blasted. That's our first sub of the day, actually. By the way, new week starting today. And that means that all the leaderboards reset and all of that, particularly for Kick. Um, the subs for the week have reset. So that's actually our first sub of the week over on Kick. I appreciate that. Yeah, I know about that, but I don't know if I want to talk about it today. What I want to do, again, I want to ask you guys, please tag me in chat. Let's have some conversation about tomorrow, about possibly what you'd like to come out of this, what, questions and things or topics of concern or anything. And for goodness sakes, let's get some support. As you know, we're at 5 out of 10 goals hit. We're halfway to our reward of DSP Tries at Domino's Pizza for the first time in over a decade on the show. I did Domino's early on for DSP Tries It and then never really went back for many, many long years. So this will be a very interesting episode. I can't wait to do it this week. I just hope the food's not atrociously awful. It could be. I hope it's not. So we want to hit that goal, obviously. So please, let's get some support going. Maybe outside of the dented individuals sending me dollar, and it's all a bunch of, dumb nonsense that I'm not going to waste my time on. It'd be nice to get some intelligent comments, or people want to talk about the games I'm playing, or just in general, the fall season, or the Wings interview tomorrow, or, something smart. Something that takes a few brain cells firing off to actually, type and send. So we have a topic. Okay. Am I going to talk about Battlefield at all with Wings? Yes, but not what you're thinking. But I think I'm going to bring it up for good reason. You'll see what I mean. Yes, it is raining here. It is full autumn weather with rain, clouds, and very cool temperatures. Green Guardsman, why don't you explain to me what you mean by that? Because here's what Green Guardsman just said. Sorry, I'm sifting through a bunch of questions. That's why there's a little bit of dead air there. He says, having a wife yourself, would you bring up the abuse allegations against Wings and his wife? What do you mean? Abuse allegations. Okay, what abuse allegations? Let's hear this. I'd love to hear this. Are there actual ongoing abuse allegations and evidence behind it? Yes, I saw that PS2 turned 25 today. I did see that. See, this I did not see. Buckwell says he hit his wife in a car when she honked at someone. When did that happen? Was that on camera? I've never heard of this. That, when was he filming when he was... Wait, when he was driving, she was driving? I'm so confused. No, what everyone has heard and seen the clip of is the stupid fat camp nonsense, right? From back in, what was that, March, I think? April, February, March, whatever that was. That's what I've seen, and that's what I think everyone has seen. I don't know about what else you're talking about. See, I don't know anything about that, no. People are saying his friend was in the backseat filming and he slapped his wife's arm. Oh, no. What? Oh, no. Alert the authorities. Quickly. Ugh. How much time do you spend online? Oh, man. How much time do you spend online, folks? Really? Can I ask you that? Oh, my God. My wife canceled her Game Pass Guitar Player. She said she just didn't care about it anymore, and she canceled it entirely. So, yeah. And she ended up buying Car Wash Simulator 2 outright, and she's playing it on the mini PC. So now she can basically just relax and play it at her own pace, and not have to worry about Game Pass, availability or whatever. Oh, by the way, thank you to Be More Righteous. You did send some kicks earlier, right? And I didn't put them on the leaderboard. Let me do that now, because you just sent another 100, and it reminded me, oh, yeah, you sent the kicks earlier. There we go. You just sent another 100 too? That's 300 you sent. Thank you. That gets us up to 28. And then we have a troll doing a $2 super chat. Thanks for that. Appreciate that. Okay. I received a $10 anonymous tip. Today's my birthday. I got engaged over the weekend and had a great time. Welcome back. Well, congratulations on your engagement. That is awesome to hear. I hope that everything's going well for you. Maybe you're planning out some awesome stuff, and that is awesome news. Thank you for the support, and I'm glad to hear that you obviously had a pretty good weekend, right? Sweet. Awesome, awesome. Thank you for the support as well, but hey, I think that your engagement news is more important than that. Good on you. Here's a question, and you don't have to follow up and answer if you don't want. But I'm just curious, with the crazy economy and the inflation and all the prices, you got engaged, but are you actually considering getting married anytime soon? Or are you actually going to hold off? I'm just curious because, man, like I can imagine the cost of just trying to do like a wedding now with how fucking expensive everything is right now. Travel, booking of anything, food. I mean, it's probably a nightmare. Keep in mind, you could also always just do what my wife and I did and do a little private thing just for your family and closest friends. It doesn't have to be a big to-do for the public like a lot of people think. For some reason in America, we've made weddings more about the people outside of the wedding than the people getting married in a lot of ways, right? It has to be this big social event where you invite a million people. And you know what I'm saying? You have to have a giant venue with music and food and all of that. You realize that's not what weddings ever were meant to be. That back in the day, weddings always took place in the backyard or in a house or, at the church, and you just go home and you hang out. It wasn't meant to be a giant festival of spending. But that's somehow how it became in the United States. It became this commercial thing that puts you into massive debt for some reason. I don't know how it became that way, but exactly. That's the other thing. Wedding stuff is so expensive on purpose because these companies feel like, hey, this is your one big thing of your life, your big opportunity, right? Once in a lifetime thing. So you're willing to spend and spend and spend, right? Huh? He's going to tell his audience he's behind on taxes and use the money to get married instead. Who, me? That definitely didn't happen. I mean, you can argue it did because you're an idiot, but you'll never have any evidence of that because it didn't happen. And why did you say it like that? Why didn't you say you told your audience you were behind on taxes, but you used the money to get married? You worded it wrong. Why are you so confusing? Why are all my trolls so slow? It's so hard to like even have try to figure out what they're saying because they can't even type right. Like you didn't even phrase it correctly. And there's people, yeah, it did. Okay, it happened, huh? Okay, so prove it right now. Can you prove it? Can you prove that I said that I was behind on taxes, I need some money to pay them, and so I raised money on a stream, and instead I put that money towards a wedding? Can you prove it right now? No? So you're a fucking idiot. You made it up because you don't like me, so you just made up a narrative. There's no way you could prove it because it didn't happen. No one could ever prove it. You're a moron. There's nothing else to say about it. All you can say, I made an accusation. Yes, you did. Now, where's your evidence of said accusation? Duh! Well, I don't like you. I don't need evidence. That's what I deal with every day. Like, literally. Well, we just don't like you collectively. So, because of that, we don't need evidence. We just believe that you're a bad person. Yeah, but that's not actually like evidence of anything. You're just stupid. You just showed that you're part of a mindless groupthink mentality of people who don't like me. You're just, again, terminally online, always connected, plugged in losers who mean absolutely nothing to anything in society. Like, what are you talking about? And then on top of it, he sent me $5. Like, to not only to phrase it incorrectly, have no evidence of anything, and then he sent me $5. Why do I sound so hurt? I'm not hurt. I'm sad. You have to understand, this is the state of humanity. in 2025. We have an entire generation of people that their entire life has been plugged into the internet. So they actually think that it's like important. They actually believe that the whole lolcow culture is important, that this crap of online drama is important. They actually think that it means something and that like it doesn't. Like you have to understand my generation, we don't give two fucks about you and your nonsense. It doesn't affect us in any way. Like I said, you could sit there and make up as much as you want about me online every day and just talk about it till you're blue in the face. But at the end of the day, my streams do well. My content is entertaining to an audience that likes to support it. When I go offline, my life is great. Everyone still takes my money. It doesn't matter what the nonsense you've created online, this bizarre alternate reality narrative that you just want to believe that only you and your terminally online group believe. No one cares. No one of any significance cares. Do you get that? I guess not. It really doesn't occur to you. That no one cares at all. Nor should it. We're living on a different plane and a different level. You're living on this weird virtual online only existence of nonsense that doesn't matter. It doesn't in any way. It doesn't affect normal people who actually go do real things in the real world. It's just sad. You look at humanity, you're like, dude, this is people. This is a group of people, right? They're real. Swamp Dog Clyde did a $2 super chat saying, "This is the content I enjoy." Well, you know, everyone enjoys different things, and more power to you. Everyone has the right to like or dislike what they like or don't. But the thing that gets me is the zaniness of the narrative and stuff. Like you actually created that narrative. For those people who don't know what's being referenced here, so in 2019, I was not doing well. All right, in 2019, my content was struggling because I was transitioning from being an on-demand content creator to a full-time streamer. I've been streaming for 2 years. I felt like I hadn't really fully hit my stride and wasn't very confident in it. I know my setup sucked, the visual quality sucked, like a lot of stuff was bad. So I was struggling to make ends meet. Financially, things were falling apart. Okay. And at that time, I was in a bad way when it came to things like paying my federal taxes and stuff. I wasn't even like raising enough to consistently pay it. I was barely making ends meet. I had so much debt that I would be raising funds on a stream and immediately that money would go to pay a bill. And if I didn't pay the bill, I was in trouble. So if I'm immediately just paying every bill as soon as the money comes in, how do I have money to pay things like my taxes and shit? It was awful. All right. So particularly, I do remember in 2019, and not that I'm proud of this, of course, there were bad, things that I had to do. Like, oh, I'm doing a stream with $1,000 goal. And if I hit the goal, I'm good off and I could pay my taxes and everything's good. And if I don't, I'm kind of hard up and I don't know what's going to happen. And it was kind of emergency stream, need help kind of a deal. Terrible that ever happened. I hope to never ever have to do something like that ever again in my life, right? So what happened was I did streams like that in 2019, admittedly, for sure, 100%. And then at that same time that all that was going down, all right, my parents contacted me and said, "We really want you to visit us because we're getting older, because we're starting to get a bunch of health problems. We want to spend time with you while we still can and before things like fall apart." Right? And who knows? Like the way that they were saying it was, it's not the end of the world, but at the same time, we want to have a nice time together with you and your fiance while we still can. Because we don't know if our health turns or whatever, we're getting to that age, and they were getting notified that they were having some medical problems and things, and so they really wanted me to go out there. Okay, they paid for the entire trip, right? 100%, 100%. And I said that to everyone, like, we're going out there to hang out with my parents because that's what they want, because, they're saying, it's an important trip to them. It's an important time to them, right? That's how I said it to everyone. I was transparent in my content. Listen, I'm going on a trip for a week. I'll be back after said trip. My parents are 100% paying for that trip. Now, what everyone didn't know, because I purposefully kept this a secret, is Kat and I were actually really going out there to get married. This actually wasn't originally part of the plan. We wanted to get married. We were already engaged, but we had no clue when we were going to get married because we didn't know what we'd be able to afford or anything. And after my parents contacted us about this and said, we want to do this trip, we all just started kind of brainstorming. I'm like, well, yeah, well, wait a minute. Coming back to Connecticut, we could maybe just do something small time, but hey, at least we could get married and we could spend some time with, with the family while we're there. We could have kind of just a few days together because we knew we couldn't afford a honeymoon or whatever. We were already financially distraught. How are we going to do a honeymoon? But instead, let's just spend a few days in Connecticut together, do some fun stuff together. There's stuff there. There's an awesome zoo. There's shopping. There's food, great Italian food and stuff. So it'd be a nice time. And then, we could come back and, get right back into the swing of things working and try to get out of the financial situation I was in. So that's what happened. And we went, again, we went. My parents paid for everything. It wasn't a super expensive wedding because it was all done at my parents' house with the justice of the peace and some very close-knit family members and friends, and that was it. And we went and had a big dinner, which I told you about. I told everyone about this the moment that I came back. It was a big thing, telling everyone what really happened on the trip. And so all that happens, right? And then immediately the trolls, of course, say, oh, well, you see, those fundraisers you just did that to pay for the trip. Well, no, I didn't. I literally wouldn't have went on the trip if it weren't for my parents paying for it. And in fact, I even had revealed this too, which again, bad history of me revealing too much personal information. I probably should have never revealed this. But, my mom and I had this very serious conversation about my financial problems and things that were going on at that time. Keep in mind, this was 6 years ago and all this is resolved now. But basically, she wanted to send us on a honeymoon. She wanted to pay for us to go on a honeymoon. And I said, Mom, what's the point of my wife and I going on a honeymoon if we come home and we can't pay our taxes and then we lose our house? Right? Like, what's the point of that? I said, if you're going to give us money, we got to put it towards the thing that's important, keeping our house. So if you're going to offer a trip we can't accept, if you're going to offer us some money so we can put it towards the most important things like keeping our house and paying our taxes, then I'll accept. And that was the discussion we had. And she was basically very upset. She wanted us to go on a honeymoon. I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? That's not the life I'm in right now. The federal government ain't going to be so happy to know that they're not getting payment from me, but then I went on a fucking trip, you just, that's not how it works, right? So my mom ended up giving me some money. I used it to combined with the money that I had raised on the streams with the money my mom had given me. I paid the taxes and the taxes got paid and I was good. And then you all know the story. I went through a bankruptcy and all of that. And now I'm in a much, much, much better position. Never going to go back to that situation ever again. But, learn my lesson, the stupid mistakes that I made. And that's that. So ever since then, the narrative has been, oh, well, Phil scammed his viewers. He did all these fundraisers for say to pay his taxes, but then he went to Connecticut. He spent all the money on a trip to Connecticut to get married. That didn't happen at all. I literally didn't spend $1 of my own money while in Connecticut. $0 were spent. All the money was spent on the taxes. And then the more money that my mom gave me was also spent on the taxes to pay them all off so that I was good. I was even. So again, they made that up. Now, where's their evidence? Oh, well, the evidence is that you've lied about other things. That's not evidence of this. That's like saying, so someone once did something bad. That's just evidence that they've always did things bad forever. You can just infinitely accuse them of anything you want forever because you think that they did something bad once. No, that's not how life works. That's not how life works in reality, in fantasy, in a court of law. That's not how it works. Like, nowhere does it work like that. Only in your broken, twisted, terminally online fantasy world of circle jerking detractorism does that actually hold water. Normal people don't think like you because normal people aren't stunted. They didn't grow up online. They actually did things in real life. They needed intelligence to do them. It's the problem with this generation. The generation of the stunted. It really is. It's pretty sad. This is the world we're growing up in. Everyone around me is like half retarded. They can't even do basic shit. And there you go. So then people bring up the 10-year plan, right? So the 10-year plan, it's just great. It's amazing lore that these people have fabricated. The 10-year plan is lore that people have brought up time to time again from this visit that I had to Connecticut. During the visit, when I was talking with my mother about we can't go on a honeymoon, my mom said, "Well, listen, if you're really in this financial distress and all this is going on, you have to find a way to get yourself out of it. You can't just be stuck in it forever. So we need you to figure this out." And I said, "Well, we can have like a 10-year plan. And what it could be is within 10 years, I'm systematically taking steps to get myself out of the realm of online content creation and transition myself into some kind of an offline job or career so that I'm not beholden to people on the internet anymore. And I don't have to worry about, oh no, you know, trolls are saying something or doing something and it affects my livelihood." Okay. That's what it was supposed to be. So I was working on that. I was actually taking a look at different things to do, jobs that I could possibly take on. And then COVID happened. And COVID changed the entire world. COVID 1,000,000% changed everything. All the opportunities and things that would have been disappeared. All the jobs dried up. Careers and things are gone. Everything's gone from the United States, outsourced. Anything that would have been of value. Like, just take a look around here at what happened with places like Boeing, a place where, oh, that's a good place to work. Not anymore. Boeing mass layoffs, lost contracts, everything fell apart, you know? Even think what you can do retail. Retail's awful now. Retail is a joke. Retail, they don't even educate anyone who even works at the store, including the management. Yeah, it's completely unprofessional. Everyone's just completely disposable. Everyone's mistreated. Not even consistent hours. Can't get health care. It's just a joke. So anyway, after COVID happened, I looked at the situation. I was like, I don't even think it's feasible. I actually think it's a good thing I didn't jump out of content creation and go to an offline job because I probably would have lost my job and I would have been completely screwed because I would have been out of the content creation loop. People wouldn't have cared about my content anymore because I would have quit. I would have actually shot myself in the foot. And then on top of that, like I said, I went through a bankruptcy. I got myself out of the bad situation. I'm much better now. So the point of the 10-year plan was, well, if I'm stuck financially and the content creation's not working and I'm really screwed, get myself out of it. Well, I'm out of it. And it's 6 years. In fact, I would even argue about a year ago I got out of it. So in 5 years, I completely got out of the situation that was supposed to take me 10 years to get out of. But the bonus is I'm still doing what I love. I'm actually more successful at it now than I ever was. And I'm actually happy and healthy, which actually wasn't even part of the plan. Now I weigh less. I'm actually getting fit. I'm having a great relationship with my wife. Like, everything is good. So you say 10-year plan. No, I already beat the 10-year plan in 5 years. I cut 5 years off of it and I'm good. I'm on the right path. Everything's going well. So what's your point about a 10-year plan? Exactly. You have none. You're an idiot. You live terminally online. You circle jerk each other in your community to think, oh, see, Phil had a 10-year plan. He failed. No, I exceeded it. I actually beat it. I beat the plan. In 5 years, I'm better off than it would have been if I had actually quit doing content creation and got a retail job. I'd be making way less than I make right now. I'd probably be miserable. I'd be stressed out to my limit, barely making ends meet. Instead, in 5 years, I'm much better off. So what is your point? Again, no one ever has a point. Because now that I just said that, now they'll move on to another thing. Well, let's talk about something else instead. But wait a minute. We just talked about your narrative about me spending tax money on a trip. That's completely blown out of the water because you have no evidence of it. Then you brought up the 10-year plan. I just completely got rid of that. So what's next? Well, on to the next, right? Because this is how they live. This is literally how they live. You know? Donald actually made a good point in chat too. He says, so you see these people, they bring it up, right? They all want to bring this nonsense up. And they do. So then all of a sudden it gets addressed. They get completely destroyed, like always. So then they either say it's boring. Why is he bringing this up again? Because you did. Or they just move on to the next topic. You're right. They're eternal losers. The only reason that people act like this is because they have no life. They literally, their entire existence is right now online, trolling someone. They have nothing for themselves at all. No positivity, nothing to show for anything. So all they do is they crap on others. They're insanely angry and jealous at everything around them in the world. So they have to lash out at those things to try to make themselves feel better. Bring down everyone else because you're not happy. Listen, I've been there. I told you guys when in the 2000s, that was me. 100%. I've admitted it. When I was in my 20s, I hated my life. I thought that everything was going the wrong direction. I thought that I wasted all the time that I'd spent in school, first of all, which was a lot of my youth. I was sitting in school going to classes that were completely worthless and got me nothing and went nowhere. I put myself into a bunch of debt going to college, which I thought was a complete scam and waste of my time. Um, the jobs I had, I hated. Okay. The only thing I really had for me was competitive Street Fighter, which that I was getting burnt out on, didn't like. Like a lot of things were just going the wrong way. So I became an online troll. I started trolling people in the Street Fighter community and acting like a jerk. And I 100% now, as an intelligent, mature adult, regret that time. 1,000,000%. I've publicly apologized for it. I've privately apologized to certain people who I actually really were mean to back then. And they've accepted my apology, which is amazing that they did that. Very big of them. And I've moved on. 100%. I've moved on from that life, and I'm now a happy, positive, constructive person. I don't need to dwell on the past because I'm past it. The problem is a lot of people out there who are these online troll communities, they're in that level. They're in their 20s. They're angry at life. They're upset. Why can't I afford a house? Why does my job suck? Why are these people online get all this stuff? I don't like them. So now I'm going to crap on them all day, right? That's not a good way to go through life. I wish those years that I squandered being an online troll, I wish that I was doing something good for myself. Really, I do. I wish that I was working out. I wish that I was actually doing like more positive, constructive things rather than me just sitting there being angry at people on the internet all day because they were doing better than me. Stupid, you know? Really. I- Okay, let's see here. By the way, I got another $5 troll super chat. Thanks. I'm not reading it, but I'm going to accept your money. I mean, I could not accept it. I can't, it's a super chat. I can't even like send that back if I wanted to. Thanks. Let's see here. See, here's the thing. Someone tipped $2. He says, so you've reached the back in my day and kids these days part of aging. I remember Howard Stern made fun of the prior generation, then had a realization moment. He became like his parents. I remember he used to make fun of the older generations for being out of touch. I think everyone has that moment, or everyone should have that moment. When you look back at your past and you realized how immature you were and how stupid you were and how you were like knee-jerk reaction, emotional. And now that you get older, you mellow out and you get more mature and you get more wise and you realize there's better ways to handle things and you don't always have to be a jerk. Like I think everyone has that moment. And to some extent, I'm going to agree with you here. I think when Howard Stern matured and became more like his parents, he got boring. Is when you don't care about him anymore. It's like, dude, you sound just like your parents, and that was who you always said was bad. Well, listen, number one, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't sound like my parents. I don't. I I really, my parents and I never really saw eye to eye on many different things. And the way that this, I don't sound like my parents, but I definitely agree. Like young Phil was this kind of like raging constantly, always upset about something. Life is unfair, you know, kind of a mentality. And now it's more like, I've gotten older and I feel like I don't want to do the kind of content I used to. Like that's the other thing. Well, Phil, if you said sexual commentary and made racial jokes and did all this stuff, you'd be more entertaining. Yeah, I'd also be an asshole. I'd be an immature, loudmouthed, over the top asshole, which I don't want to be. At one point in my life, that's what I was striving to do because that's what I thought people wanted on YouTube. But I've been around for 17 years. I've laid the groundwork and there's enough tenure there and there's enough experience there. People don't need to hear me be like that to be relevant. I don't have to be some idiot to be relevant. A lot of people do. A lot of people have to be loudmouth blathering idiots, just screaming at everything to be relevant. I don't. I can be chill. I want to be chill. There are times to get upset. There are times to get full of energy and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But not all the time, and certainly not extrapolating, over exaggerating just for attention, and that's something that I think I've earned. 17 years of my life that I put into content creation that I don't have to be an asshole anymore, you know? I got another $2 tip. What would you say was your worst year of your YouTuber streamer career? I mean, it all depends on what you mean. Are you talking financially? Are you talking emotionally? Are you talking psychologically? There's so many different things that happened in 17 years that you could argue were things that sucked. When I moved across the country and all of a sudden it seemed like public attitude toward me completely flipped. That was the height of this is how you don't play. And it seemed like everyone just wanted to flip their attitude about DSP, who previously everyone liked. Now all of a sudden he's like the whipping boy, the villain of the internet, everyone laugh and point, you know? Then there was the whole adpocalypse slash year where my personal life fell apart, my business fell apart. That was terrible, right? There was uh, the whole bankruptcy stress and shit that I went through when I was going through all kinds of crazy stuff at the same time, like getting identity theft was going on while I was trying to go through a bankruptcy and shit, which is all fucked, all kinds of stuff. But the thing is, I don't want to dwell on things that were bad. I want to dwell, my hair is so bad today. I want to dwell on things that are good. I would rather think about the things that are good in my life than dwell on the things that went wrong, especially because thankfully for me, I don't relive the same problems over and over. No, that's a good thing. It's nice here today in Washington. Right now, it's only 70 degrees in my office. It's actually super cool and nice. It might get so cool I have to close the window a bit. We'll have to see. I have my fan on low, and it's 70 degrees in here, which is pretty crazy. Someone's been asking for an OG badge forever over on Kick. At this point, I don't think anyone's going to give you an OG badge. You've been asking for like 2 straight weeks. No one has complied. Let's go. To end the show, let's get some real support instead of a bunch of dollar tips and nonsense, right? Let's get a super chat. Let's get some memberships. We got no memberships today so far, right? Let's get a tip. Let's get a sub, right? And let's get some kicks right now to end the podcast. Let's do it. All right, Steve Dave Williams with a $2 super chat says, "It do be like that, Mr. Burnell." There you go. There's our super chat. Who's going to do some memberships? Let's get some memberships. What did we just get? 100 kicks. Thanks for that. Perfect. All right, let's get a sub. Right now, let's get a sub. Let's get a tip. Let's get a membership. Boom, boom, boom. Then we got one of each. Nice, solid ending to the show. Why don't I gift subs myself? You're not supposed to gift your own subs. I believe there are free subs again. Let me check about that. Membership gifting. Yeah, look. They're back. The subs are actually back. Not the subs. The memberships on YouTube. They actually gave them back. They took them away for several months, and then they gave them back. So here's the thing. If you remind me, either tomorrow when we're doing the decompression or maybe on Friday during the Halloween marathon, I can gift out some free memberships on YouTube because they gave them back again. We just realized this a few weeks ago. How much is left in Silksong? I do not know. I don't spoil myself. I know that we have like 2 optional missions that we have to work on because we have them from the billboard things. And then I think there's the 3 areas we're supposed to find and be able to go in. And I don't know if you have to fight bosses or whatever to get these items to get to the final part of the game. I couldn't even find it last time. I was looking all around and I couldn't find it. Basil, thank you for a 1313 super chat. He says, "Even though my week sucked, I always look forward to watching you play Silksong." Thank you, Basil. I'm very much looking forward to it today. I do hope that we make major progress today. Again, I never really know what's going to happen because there's so much in the game that I'm not aware of. And that the game is not really straightforward at explaining, right? Like a lot of this stuff is so well hidden, I never would have even found it if you guys didn't clue me in on it. Ask Wing some questions about Halloween tomorrow. Maybe we will. We'll talk about Halloween. It is a holiday on Friday. And, what's our history with Halloween? Did he used to dress up? Did he trick-or-treat a lot when he was a kid? Does he have any decorations in his house for Halloween? Like, what does he do? I'm curious. Actually, I am curious. I don't, when I was younger, my family was heavily into Halloween. Now we're more generic. Like, the Halloween stuff's in here. Well, in my house, we have, more fall decorations. We don't really put up, Halloween-themed stuff. There we go. Bill's a copyright cuck. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? A copyright cuck? In what regard? I'm probably the most opposite of that. I'm the guy who outright doesn't do anything with copyright on YouTube, despite the fact I very well could flex my right to do so and execute it. I don't. So I guess thanks for the sub. I literally don't do anything. There's tons of people who just steal my shit that I could claim. I don't do that. Mission Vow, LTG will not come on a podcast. What makes you think that he would? Like, what are you talking about? He goes, he won't play you in fighting games, but would you have LTG on a podcast? He would never come on the show. Like, he has no interest in it. He's made that clear a million times, has he not? Any plans to play Deadlock, Valve's Overwatch style hero shooter? No. Don't even know what it is. Don't care, I guess. Are we good? Have we addressed all the hot topics so that I can go on break and then we can start with Silk Song for today? So, by the way, again, FYI, tomorrow we should have the first guest on the podcast in a very long time. And we'll have a half an hour build up, and then Wings of Redemption is going to join us roughly around noon. And we'll see how it goes. If it ends up being short or long conversation, I have no idea. I feel like there's a billion topics we could talk about. It really depends on where the conversation takes us or leads or what it has to do with anything. And, we go from there. We'll see how it is. I wanted to get feedback. It seems a lot of people wanted to focus on me. Don't ask me why. Like, I don't see the point. We didn't really get anywhere. It just made you look like a fool, and I made a bunch of money. It's kind of a waste of time. I thought you guys would want to talk about Wings, but I guess not. I guess some people are just that boring. Seriously. No, we don't give out Halloween candy. We can't because we live in a private community. I've explained this a zillion times. For 11 years I've lived here, and I can't give out candy. No, I'm never playing Marvel Rivals again. No one likes it on my streams. Cadbury's Crunchies? I don't know if we have that. That sounds like it would be like chocolate with like little Rice Krispie things in it. We do have those, but I don't know if Cadbury's makes them here. It was like Nestle's Crunch. I love Nestle's Crunch. I haven't had it in a million years, man. I want a Nestle's Crunch. Like I said, I'm a chocoholic. I crave chocolate. Am I sad I can't give out candy? Well, I wouldn't be able to give out candy anyway because I'll be working. There's a marathon on Halloween. I wouldn't be giving out candy. What kick moral support messages? Can we get kick moral support messages? This is good. Talk about how you groomed a kid did 100 kicks. I can't talk about how you groomed a kid. I don't know who you are. I mean, if you groomed a kid that's horrible, you should report yourself to the authorities immediately. But I can't talk about how you groomed a kid. I don't know the situation. But I appreciate the 100 kicks. That's nice of you. Oh, I see. You're talking about the moral support message. You're talking about having a message when you do a moral support pop-up, but we had to get rid of them because the trolls were still able. The people who were getting banned found out that Kick very foolishly didn't put a situation in place where you stop people from doing those after you're banned. So then they would send a whole bunch of messages that were very insulting and horrible things, right? Okay, I understand what you're saying now. Broadcast just became a member. Let's see if that's a fresh one. It actually is. That's our first member of the day. Sweet. Thank you to Broadcast for becoming a member this morning. Very nice. Thank you for that. We're up to 81 of support. I have to sneeze. Tickle in my nose out of nowhere. Whew. Okay. All right. Are we good now? Cool. So good show. Despite the fact that idiots came by to throw money at me to talk about old topics that go nowhere and just make them look like, again, terminally online losers. I don't know why that's what they want. I thought we were talking about like Wings today or whatever, but oh well. It went the way you wanted it to go, and now we're at over $80 of support and climbing. So, by the way, Nick Smith just did a $2 super chat. He says, "I, Nick Smith, don't support poor kick trolls. Ew." There you go. I know. It sure would be better to get some more kick support. I'm just saying. Some subs, some kicks. It'll be great. Anyway. All right. I think we'll end the show. All right, guys? Thank you for watching. Now, tomorrow, I wasn't originally going to do a podcast. Now we are. Tomorrow will be the whole, stream of Wings coming by, and then we're going to do a decompress after that, where we're going to just chill and hang out and talk about what had happened and go from there. It should be a fun, different kind of a stream to break my content up. And all that's going to happen is we're going to push everything down one. So, it was going to be Pokemon tomorrow. Instead, Pokemon will now be Tuesday. That's all it's going to be. Not a big deal. Just 1 day stream missing, but everything else just gets bumped like one stream, and then we're good. Okay, folks? Cool. All right, thank you. Great show. Despite the fact that people always try to derail or whatever, I don't care. Good for you. I enjoyed it. I hope that you guys did too. And I certainly hope that you're going to join me tomorrow for a very special one. I just hope I remember how to do everything technically. It's been a few months, but thank you guys. See you tomorrow. Peace out.